Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and the first video of 2022. I hope that you all had a lovely festive season. I took a couple of weeks off YouTube, and in fact I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about my plans for YouTube later on in this video. But what I'm going to be doing is creating some what I'm calling Pebble Swatches. This is my new way of swatching. I find this much more enjoyable to swatch new colours like this. So I'm going to be Pebble swatching two Schmincke Horadam super granulation sets, one of which I got as a gift for Christmas. That's the Haze set of 5 colours. I believe this is a new set. It's a limited edition one, and when I found out about it a few weeks ago, I just thought the colours were right up my street. They're just such beautiful colours. So I'm going to first of all swatch that one, and then I'm going to swatch the Forest set as well. So this is something that when Jackson's had an offer in December, I decided to buy for myself as kind of a Christmas present to myself, and I really like these two sets together. Other than this, I think it's just 3 of the Schmincke super granulating colours: Tundra Pink, Forest Blue and Deep Sea Black. I think they were the only 3 I had prior to these ones, so it's really nice to be able to add to my collection of those, because I'm very impressed with the Schmincke Horadam paints in general, and I really love the super granulating ones. You may notice that I'm putting the names of the colours on the screen as I'm swatching them, so that's for your reference in case you see anything you particularly like. I don't think, however, that the haze colours are available separately at the moment. I don't know whether they ever will be. I mean, it says that this is a limited edition set, so I'm guessing they may just be available like this with the 5 colours in one set. But I know that the forest colours are available separately, and as I said, I have one of the colours already, Forest Blue. This was, I think, the first super granulating paint I had from Schmincke, and it's one of my all-time favourite colours, so I didn't mind that I have another one in this set because it's a colour that I use a lot anyway, and I'd always liked the look of the other 4 colours in this range. But yeah, for now we're concentrating on the haze colours. I love the subtlety of these colours, and as we go along you'll see just how perfect they are for something like pebbles. There's something about the granulating textures of these paints that makes them perfect for nature subjects. I love experimenting with them because you'll find that they behave quite differently on different types of watercolour paper. So, for example, the one I'm using here, this is the Canson Heritage Cold Pressed 640 GSM, so it's a super heavyweight watercolour paper, and cold press means that it has a slight texture. So it's not super rough, but it's not smooth like hot press paper. So it's somewhere in between, and I find that the paints granulate really nicely on this type of paper. But if you went for an even rougher watercolour paper, you'll find that the granulation effect is enhanced, so they become even more granulating the rougher the paper. The 5 colours in the haze set are all made up of either 2 or 3 different granulating colours, so you'll also get some colour separation, and you can see that starting to happen on the first swatches I did. As they dry, you can see the colour separation, and it's really quite beautiful. It's honestly so nice working on pieces like this because it's kind of like a meditation. You don't have to think too hard, and you can just enjoy playing with the paints and watching the colours separate, watching the granulation appear. I just love it. It's one of my new favourite ways of painting, when I just want to sit down and just get myself into the creative zone. So now I'd swatched the 5 colours and I wanted to just add a few more pebbles. So I decided to use up some of the paint that was on my palette, and I started with using a slightly lighter wash of the first colour, which was Haze Pink, and you'll see just how beautiful this looks when it's dry. So the plan is to turn these from swatches into works of art. But first I need to let this one dry, so I'm going to put it aside, and then we're going to swatch the forest set of colours. This is the forest blue I was talking about earlier. This is the one I already own in a larger tube. It's just such a gorgeous colour. I've always loved blue toned greens, and this is just like the perfect blue-green to me. Forest brown looks pretty green here, but it does actually have a brown pigment in it. And with these paints, the more water you add, the more space you give them to move around, the more you'll see the colour separation. You can see that there's a really nice variety of greens in this set. I just knew that I would love this set. I've looked at it before and I just couldn't really justify the price. I was very tempted, but I already have quite a lot of greens and the Schmincke Horadam sets are quite expensive. But when it was on offer at Jackson's, I thought it was the right time to just make a decision and get it, and I'm so glad I did. I don't think that I'll be squeezing these tubes into pans as I have done with most of my other watercolours. I think what I'd really like to do is keep these two little sets just separate from my other watercolours. I really love the boxes they're in as well, so I'm just going to keep them like this, and I think they'll be nice to just keep on the desk and keep close at hand. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the upcoming year on YouTube and what my plans are and what I'd like to do with my channel. So there are going to be some slight changes. The first change is that in order to manage my new increased workload, I'm going to be uploading on here, I think, between 2 to 3 times per month. Now, you know that previously I have made as many as, I think in my busiest month, it's something like 8 or 9 videos. I generally aim for about 1 a week, so I usually end up uploading between about 4 or 5 a month, and that's quite a lot of work. So I'm going to be cutting that down to between 2 and 3 a month. That's what we're going to aim for. If I have anything I particularly get inspired to share with you, you might have an extra one here and there, but I'm going to aim for between 2 and 3 per month. I launched my Patreon finally on the 1st of December, and I'd been planning it for I think about 3 months before that. It got off to a better start than I could ever have hoped for. I am so unbelievably grateful and appreciative of the support I've been given with this, because it will be a life changer, and that's not an exaggeration. You will probably find out just how much of a life changer at some point in the future. But just so you know, anyone who's joined me on there, I am forever grateful. It's been so much fun. I feel like we're building a really nice community, which was part of the reason I wanted to set this up, because I think in order to thrive as an artist, community is a really important thing. You need people around you who are encouraging and inspiring, and that is what this is. This is my way of trying to give something back, and obviously I gain something from this too, and that also helps me to provide more content for you. It just seems to be such a great idea, such a wonderful thing. I'm so grateful that platforms like Patreon exist. I'm grateful that platforms like YouTube exist, because honestly, it has completely changed my life as an artist in so many ways. I feel like I'm pushing myself more than I ever have before, and I'm more experimental. I feel braver in my choices. I feel more informed about the materials I'm using. All of that has just improved my art practice so much. And yeah, Patreon is a part of this, and I'm really loving it. So with all that being said, going forward into 2022, I will be trying to balance YouTube with Patreon every month and make content for both of those. I'll obviously be, doing my artwork, managing my online shop, working on any other projects, doing all the admin. There's a lot of stuff to do, but I'm going to try, especially after last year and what happened in July when I kind of got burnt out and I got really ill. I'm really going to try my best to balance this, and this is why I will have to cut down on how many videos I'm uploading to YouTube, but I'm hoping for quality over quantity. So that takes us on to where there will be some changes in what I'll be uploading. For me, 2021 was the year of the art haul. It was actually an art haul video called something like Absolutely Massive Art Haul that I uploaded at the beginning of March in 2021 that really started the growth of my channel. For some reason, that video was shown to a much wider audience than the people who were already following me, and then I gained lots more subscribers, and it's just been rolling really nicely since then. I was planning that particular art haul for quite a while. I knew that it was going to be big because I'd been saving up the items for it, the products for it, for probably, I think, about 2 to 3 months before I actually filmed it. I decided that because of lockdown and all of the restrictions we'd been under, We hadn't had any holidays, we hadn't been going out and eating out, having days out like we would normally. So I had a bit of extra money, and I decided that I was going to invest that money in my art business, in my career. So the idea was to put that money towards art supplies that I wouldn't ordinarily have bought, because I wouldn't have had the spare money, and I just decided to invest in pretty much whatever took my fancy. Obviously there were some limitations. I am not made of money, so I couldn't get everything, but I really did buy so many art supplies last year. And there are only so many art supplies one person can use, even when you're working as a full-time artist. So my plan for this year is to slow down a bit on buying new art supplies. Art hauls will be a thing now and again, but they're not going to be a regular thing as they have been throughout most of last year. So I have a plan though, because I absolutely love sharing art supplies with you. I love sharing the colours that inspire me. I get really excited if I find a new product and I want to tell you all about it, if it's something I'm loving in my work. So you're going to see more process videos. You're going to see more favourites videos. So I'm going to share a more in-depth look at the supplies I already own. So kind of an art haul from my own cache of art materials, if you like. So perhaps we might concentrate on watercolours or acrylics or coloured pencils or neocolours or inks, whatever it is. I think I could make this into a series. I'd like to bring back the monthly favourites. They have been among the most popular videos on my channel, certainly for the amount of time they've been up. I think I made 3 or 4 monthly favourites videos last year. I wanted to do them each month, but it just didn't turn out that way. I'd really like to bring them back. And in fact, my next video is going to be my favourite art supplies of 2021. That one is still in progress. I thought that that might be the first video of 2022, but it didn't turn out that way. I'm still working on it. So that's coming up. I think that will be a really nice roundup of everything I've really enjoyed using last year. But yeah, the monthly favourites, if they could come back even every other month, I'd be pleased with that. And just, yeah, sort of swatching and looking at my art supplies and how I use them. So it's not just another art haul where I swatch them quickly for the first time and you don't really get to see me using them. I really want to get back to more art creation, more process, more of my studio, more of my life. I'm hoping that some interesting things are going to be happening over the next year, and I really want to document everything. I want you to feel like you know me a bit better, that you know my inspirations a bit better, that I am a little bit more than just art materials and swatching. As much as I love art materials and swatching, don't worry, it's not going to stop. It's just that I'm going to introduce just a little bit more. And obviously over on Patreon, I give an even more in-depth look at my process and what I'm up to. And that's only just started, so I'm really excited for what's coming up on Patreon. Some of you may remember my painted stones. I haven't worked on any, I think, for a few months now, but I did earlier in 2021, and I tend to decorate them. These are real stones, by the way. I tend to decorate them with different nature motifs, and so I thought it might be quite fun to just decorate these painted pebbles, these 2D pebbles, in a similar way so that they look like my actual 3D painted stones. I really like this idea, so I hope you like it too, actually. I just thought it would be a nice way of making these swatches into an actual artwork, making it into something else rather than just leaving them as pebble-shaped swatches. It was actually Dominic who came in while I was working on them and said to me before I'd added the patterns, it'd be a really nice idea if you made these look like your painted stones. And so I thought, yeah, let's give it a go, and it works surprisingly well. I think if you've made it this far into the video, we're nearly at the end now. If you leave a comment below saying super granulation baby, I'll know that you made it this far. I'd love to see how many people actually do. Here are the finished pieces, and I'd love to hear if you decide to have a go at swatching in this way yourself. The one on the right, the forest swatches, I used a white luminance, a Caran d'Ache luminance pencil to add the lines to those, and the one on the left with the really detailed designs, I used Daler Rowney FW acrylic ink for that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, an extra big thank you, and I'll see you again soon in another video.